Delicious mac and cheese has got to be a favorite of everybody's, but why do grilled steaks, chicken, seafood go so well with mac and cheese? Well, I'm going to tell you and show you how to do all of that along with some roasted vegetables and grilled coming up right now on Cooking with Chef Bryan. It's always so fun to cook in the kitchen because it's one of those types of movements or rememberings or memories from my childhood that Mom was always in the kitchen and I got to be alone with her, and my other siblings didn't really enjoy cooking, and so when I'm in the kitchen it always is my remembrance of my time with Mom growing up, and so that's so fun, and that's something I hope that all of you strive for, whether you're a single parent home, a double parent home, any kind of a family home, that you are teaching your children how to cook with you, because it truly does carry with them throughout their entire lives. So today, mac and cheese from scratch, and this is really fun. It's so simple to put together, but it's the components that are delicious. You're gonna love. I've started off by boiling off some macaroni here. It has about 3 more minutes on that, so we'll take that out. We'll strain it. It'll be wonderful. But first, what we've got to do is we need to make a sauce, the cheese sauce to go with it. This is so simple. If any of you have ever made a cheese sauce before, you know it's very easy and it is delicious. Let's move this grill right back here for a minute. So we have a bigger burner here. And I want to say, if any of you have ever made white gravy, country gravy, in this area I think we call it pioneer gravy, milk gravy, that is the base for a cheese sauce. And so we're going to make basically a milk gravy. By heating up the pan here, to that I'm going to add into it some butter. And you can use any kind of oil. If butter isn't the kind that you want to use, you can use vegetable, canola, olive, whatever you like. I just like the richness of the butter. It goes really well with that. Let me grab my knife. It's probably right here in front of me. Make sure it's right here. And I'm going to add some of that in there to create. So we're going to start by creating a roux. A roux is a fancy French term for equal parts fat and flour, and that's what we're going to use to thicken it. And by creating a roux, really, you can add that roux into a boiling pot and the flour won't clump together. So the theory behind it is that all those fats from the oil or the butter are going to coat the flour, and then it's not going to allow it to clump and allow it to dissolve and thicken easily in boiling liquid. And so that's all that a roux is. We used to make this in the professional kitchen by the gallons, and we just store it in the refrigerator covered, and then we'd use it, scoop out what we needed to thicken up a sauce or a gravy or a soup or a stew, whatever we were cooking on the stove. And so very easy. So this is beginning to melt now, and that was about a quarter of a cup. Because one stick here in America, we got to say that, is 8 tablespoons or a half a cup. And so that's about 4 tablespoons that I use, which would be a quarter cup. And so it's just kind of interesting. I say that in America because it's not that way all over the world. The measurements are different. So let's go ahead and just get that melting out there. Our pasta is almost cooked here. And what I want to do at this stage, it's almost cooked. It looks like we have about 2 minutes, a minute left. I'm going to take these vegetables and I'm going to just plop them in there. And this is going to do a couple of things. Now, first of all, this is going to create a blanching that you may have heard, which is another fancy little French term that just means you're going to quick cook a vegetable. And then just cut those ends off of that asparagus. Let's just dump that in there. And what it does is it deepens the color. It sets the colors. And so it's going to help do it, because once they're blanched in there, what we're going to do is we're going to finish them off by grilling them. And so while those are finishing up there, we can turn that off there. Can just kind of spread that butter around on there. And you want to move fairly quickly. You don't want that butter to burn. Now, there are a couple of things that you can do when making these types of roux. There are actually 3 colors of roux. You can do a light blonde roux, you can do a medium color, or you can do a dark roux, and that just depends on how far you take the butter in the pan. If you want a dark roux, obviously you would, and I'll put in parentheses, burn the butter. But that's just one of those things that you can do. I don't want a dark roux, so we're just having a nice light blonde roux. Make sure all that flour is mixed into there nicely. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the milk and there is our pasta. So let's turn that timer off. And I'll just let that sit there for a minute while I add in the milk here. And I'm going to stir the milk as I add it. I like to add just a little bit at first and then just kind of mix everything together so that it combines, and then add some more into there. If you've ever had that wonderful country gravy on Sunday with mashed potatoes, this is the start of it. You've seen Mom or whomever going to have the roast, the drippings from the roast. They add some flour to it, mix it all together, and then they add the milk to it and create a yummy little gravy to go with those mashed potatoes. This is the base of it here. I'm just using a whisk now, and I'm going to just mix this all together in there. This is a Teflon coated pan, but it's one that I can use a metal whisk in. So make sure the ones that you have are metal utensils that you can do the same thing on yours. Otherwise, you run the risk of bringing up that Teflon into the dish, and you certainly don't want to do that. So now once this gets all mixed around, that's going to start to dissolve the flour in there, and we're going to have a nice, lovely country gravy. If by chance it starts to become a little bit of too lumpy in there, it's not a big deal. Just strain it. It's not a big deal. All of us, this is the biggest thing that I hear from viewers and friends that I see in the grocery store that say hi when they see me, is that cooking stresses them out so much. Don't let it stress you out. It's not a big deal. I always joke and say, well, if it doesn't work out, just say it's some German dish and it's delicious. Nobody's going to know the same. Going to bring this up to a boil. I'm going to get the pasta strained with our blanched vegetables in there. We come back. We're going to finish off our cheese sauce as well as move into grilling. And I've got a chicken and a steak. And I'm going to talk about butterflying chicken breasts and why. So don't go away. There's lots more coming up on the show right after the commercial break. And ooh, I wish you could smell how yummy everything smells. Don't go away.
Hot and fresh from your oven. Rhodes.
Monday, a battle between police and City Hall over public safety and the environment. Millions of tax dollars spent on over 100 new police vehicles.
We need cars. We've needed cars for decades.
That many officers say can't patrol the streets.
Why is the city spending $4 million on patrol cars that your officer said were not suitable?
A 2 News investigation exposes why officers say these cars may put your safety at risk and why City Hall ignored police recommendations. Monday on 2 News at 10.
Sometimes your appliances break down and need to be replaced. But you want to shop somewhere with a wide selection of brands, and you want your new appliance delivered immediately. That's when you need to come into RC Willey.
Just because we're super hungry
doesn't mean you gotta spend a lot, because Denny's brought back the Super Slam with eggs, hash browns, bacon, sausage, and pancakes, all for just $5.99. The $5.99 Super Slam is back. See you at Denny's.
The Planning Bar prepares you for the weather heading your way, only on 2 News This Morning.
Welcome back, everybody. It's kind of a fun little comfort food show today with mac and cheese, some grilled steak and chicken, and I'm showing you how to actually put together the cheese sauce that goes with the macaroni. So we started off by really just thickening up milk. That's what this is. There's a roux that we created with equal parts of fat and flour, and then added in the milk to the consistency I wanted. And then you just stir it, comes to a boil, thickens up, and looks great. If you've got to strain it, strain it. It's up to you. If the lumps don't come out from the roux, that's just fine too. Now this is about 2 cups of grated cheese. Now I'm using the Beehive cheese. I love Beehive cheese because it's almost a sharp cheddar, and I love sharp cheddar. And what I like to do when I plan at my house when we have mac and cheese is, one, if I'm craving it, of course, but if I have a lot of leftover cheese, just grated cheese from the week that I need to use up, and that's exactly, really, I looked in my fridge to see if I had any left over, and I did. And so I just had some Mexican style grated cheese that I had left over, I wanted to use up. So you just add that into it. If you have any of these little cheese bags from the week, things that you had that you wanted to use up, you can add that into it, and it's a great way to use it and not let it go to waste. It just kills me when I see food wasted, but, you know, I know it happens. All right, so you can see now we mix that in. Here we have a delicious cheese sauce now. That's all that is. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper into it just to flavor. If it was a classical French, you'd add a little pinch of nutmeg to it, but I really don't care if it has nutmeg. This is just some onion salt in there and a little bit of black pepper. Also, if this was a classical French, it would have white pepper so that you wouldn't be able to see the pepper, so it doesn't look like little flecks of dirt in there, which it's going to be delicious. It's pepper. All right, you can see now this would be delicious on baked potatoes, on steamed broccoli or cauliflower, or anything that you need a cheese sauce for. So very, very simple to put together. Now what I'm going to do is just add the actual macaroni right directly into it, and then you can mix that all together to create our delicious mac and cheese. If your cheese sauce is a little runny, don't worry about that, because once you mix it with the pasta, which is still going to have some starches on there from cooking, it's going to thicken that up and it's going to be beautiful and delicious. You can take this, put it into a baking dish if you wanted to, sprinkle it with some seasoned Italian breadcrumbs, put it in the oven if you wanted. I'm just going to take it and serve it right out of the dish here. So there we go. Mix that all together, and that is, oh, you guys, that looks amazing. I love homemade mac and cheese. Many years ago, I actually did a competition at, I believe it was the boat show when it comes into town with mac and cheese, and my friend was doing one, and they did it out of a box. I did it from scratch. I think I beat making it from scratch, and of course it tasted a bazillion times better from scratch. So let's move that grill over there. We'll just move the macaroni here. It is finished. Look how delicious, creamy, and wonderful that is. If it sits for a while, it will thicken up. If you don't want it that thick, you can add a little more milk to it when you reheat it, and it is done. All right. Let's take a look at these vegetables. I've taken them out. I was showing you how to blanch it in the tail ends of the cooking of the pasta, and I wanted to show you the difference here. Let's just kind of move these uncooked meats out of the way here, and I'll put this down. And here's the difference that you can see. Now, these ones are blanched. The asparagus is not, and you can see how much greener the asparagus is. Of course, I don't have anything to compare with the carrots, but they are a much deeper orange than they originally were before they went in and blanched. And so this is also another classical way of cooking things so that you have much higher color presentations. If you're doing a like a vegetable platter or tray, you can do vegetables like this, blanch them so that your broccolis and cauliflower, you know, whatever that you have on there is going to be a much brighter color on the tray. And so that's just kind of a fun little trick there. All right, let's just heat up our grill here because we're going to start grilling off some of these vegetables in a minute here, as well as the meats. Now, I think I love to add different types of meats or proteins with macaroni and cheese because it's something that's simple you always have around the house. Now, I have a steak, I have chicken. You could do salmon with that. You could do tofu if you wanted vegetarian. You would have to just adjust the cheese if you're going vegan, and of course the milk, obviously. So it's just, you can make this however you need to for your own dietary needs. But the chicken breast, remember, when this is a whole chicken breast, one side is much thicker than the other side. And so by butterflying through it, I pretty much eliminate that. They're all going to be equal thickness. And so that's important when you're grilling chicken specifically because you need it to be fully cooked. It's not like a steak that you can cook to rare or well done, depending on the range in there. Chicken always is cooked well done. You never cook chicken rare, medium, whatever. It's always well done, 165 degrees internally, and this makes that very simple to do. When we come back, we're going to finish up the grilling here and continue on with a perfect comfort foods. Special thanks to our friends at Klondike Potatoes for helping to make this segment possible.
After a serious injury, money can be really tight. That's why at Siegfried & Jensen, your first call is free. Your first consultation is free. Stuck at home or in the hospital, we'll come to you for free. So call Siegfried & Jensen, where we don't get paid until you do.
It was time to update the bathroom.
But we wanted to work with a company we could trust.
And Rebath made it effortless. A Rebath design consultant came to our home and presented us ideas and products in a way that made our decision simple.
They took away the old, installed the new, and gave us the bathroom
we always wanted.
Trust Rebath with the safety in your bathroom. Call 801-452-7163 and save $500 off your complete bathroom remodel.
Friday nights at 10:15, watch the America First Credit Union Talkin' High School Football Show. The best high school highlights from across the state. Fridays at 10:15, only on KUTV2.
Celebrate at Sizzler. For a limited time only, come in for our steak and lobster starting at just $13.99. Our hand-cut 6-ounce steak is perfectly seasoned and flame grilled, then paired with a juicy 3-ounce lobster tail for only $13.99. Sizzler, so good you'll crave an encore.
It's a whole day of fun. The 20th annual Salt Lake Family Christmas Gift Show, Friday through Sunday, November 15th through the 17th at the Mountain America Expo Center. Hundreds of exhibits, one-of-a-kind gifts, arts and crafts, sample and buy holiday foods, decorations and ornaments, and live family entertainment. Kids take a picture with Santa. Kids get in free. There's so much new this year and plenty of extra free parking. For tickets, see FamilyChristmasGiftShow.com.
Know how to protect your rights after an injury. Never give a recorded statement. Don't sign anything. And call a lawyer right away. Your case may depend on it. Siegfried & Jensen, where our clients come first, and we don't get paid until you do.
A fight between police and the city that could affect your safety, Monday at 10.
Welcome back, everyone, to Cooking with Chef Bryan. It's really all about comfort foods today. Mac and cheese, some grilled steak, grilled chicken, grilled or roasted vegetables, however you like to do it. And it's very simple to do. We've already finished up the mac and cheese here. It's already in the cheese sauce. It is done. The grill over here, I'm using a stovetop grill just for convenience. You can go outside to your grill however you want to. And so I put some oil on it, so it's got some oil on it. And then I salted and peppered the steak and the chicken. And the thing I find that we get involved in here, let me close this drawer over here I was rummaging through in the break there. I find a lot of times that we get too concerned about what goes on our foods. I'm like, oh, if I don't have the right seasoning, if I don't have the right steak rub, if I don't have the right this or that, it just becomes so complicated. And I want you to hear, I want to lean down so you can hear that sizzle. That's what you want to hear, regardless if it's going on a stovetop or outside. But anyway, back to my soapbox of, we get so concerned about if we don't have the right seasonings or tools to cook that it just stresses us out. We can't do that. It's not that important. It's just relax. It's all good. And so a little simple seasoning of salt, pepper is perfect. I do like to use Montreal steak seasoning. I think McCormick makes that. I love that on the steaks. It's pretty good. But if not, some good old salt and pepper. And so stop worrying so much about if you have some special seasoning that you saw on television somewhere, some cooking show that costs $50 a bottle and you have to order it special and you end up using a teaspoon of it. Salt and pepper always works great. All right, as far as the vegetables, I have taken the carrots, I've sliced them in half, just so I can have a better grill mark on them. And I love using full-length carrots like this because I think it adds a beautiful presentation. Just a little bit of salt to those, and a little bit of pepper. Did I put that pepper over here, back behind me here? Boy, I'm losing my knife today. The pepper, goodness gracious. A little bit of pepper on there. And remember, the vegetables are already partially cooked through. I mean, you could eat them. They are soft enough to eat at this point. However, I'm going to add them onto the grill as soon as we get the chicken going here and let them finish off so that we have some nice grill marks on them. And so it's just one of those things that you can do. I like a medium rare steak. This is a ribeye, which is my all-time favorite. I do like a good ribeye, so I'm going to ribeye that. The chicken's looking great. Going to turn that over and let that cook up. And notice how much faster that cooks when I take those chicken breasts and cut them in half. And so it's just a very simple way to do that. And I'll tell you a little secret in restaurants and professional kitchens. When we would get the chicken breasts in, we would cut them in half like this and then charge clients for a full chicken breast. So be wary of that when you're out and about in your favorite restaurant. So let's just add those onto there. The chicken is cooked far enough through on the outsides that I'm not going to worry. If something touches it, we'll move that down there. We'll add some of the carrots over here also. There we go. I'm gonna grab a plate because I'm gonna take that steak off here in just a minute. I'm one of these individuals that when you have a nice steak, and steak, let's be honest, beef is not cheap right now, and so you need to learn how to cook it properly so that you don't destroy it. But I like my steaks done medium rare. I think that's great. But you can actually cook them and however you want to for your own needs. Now, I've been doing this so long, I know this little touch technique on my hand. And so I can touch, you know, whatever protein that we're cooking, and I can know where it's going to be on there. And so that touch technique is actually very beneficial. I'll show you what it is when we come back here. We got to go on break here in just a second. But these are going to finish off here, and we'll finish up the mac and cheese, the steak, the chicken, the grilled veggies. Oh, it doesn't get any more comforting than that. We come back, I'll show you this touch technique that you may see chefs doing on TV to find out where the meats are done. It's very simple, but nothing works better than an Insta-Read thermometer. Don't go away. We'll finish up when we come back.
It is time to make room for one more.
All you have to do is point.
Oh, you really are full service. Ooh.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK and we'll be at your house within 90 minutes. We come at your convenience.
When you want junk to disappear, all you have to do is point.
Nights can be hard for foster kids, especially the first night. But little things like a new toy can help a foster child feel safe, get a good night's sleep, and have a chance at a better tomorrow. You can help us make a difference by donating to the Mattress Firm Foster Kids Toy Drive, going on now. Bring new stuffed animals or plush toys into any Mattress Firm store today, or visit mattressfirmfosterkids.org to make a donation.
It can be intimidating talking to your doctor about opioids, so don't think of me as your doctor. Think of me as your neighbor, an educator, a friendly voice of reason. Really, whatever makes you feel comfortable and happy. Because I want you to ask me questions, like if you're at risk for addiction. So let's talk. I'll make it easy for you.
Learn questions to ask and more at useonlyasdirected.org.
I'm Bryan. You probably know someone who's had a heart attack, COPD, or a heart bypass operation. You might even know someone who's had a heart transplant, lung cancer, or part of their lung removed. But what about someone who's had all 6? Now you do. My tip is, if smoking doesn't get you one way, it'll get you another.
It is time to make room for one more.
All you have to do is point.
Oh, you really are full service. Ooh.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK and we'll be at your house within 90 minutes. We come at your convenience.
When you want junk to disappear, all you have to do is point.
A fight between police and the city that could affect your safety. Monday at 10.
Hot and fresh from your oven. Rhodes.
Special thanks to our friends at Klondike Potatoes for helping to make this segment possible. I always love making comfort foods. It's what I grew up with, and I think it's delicious, they're easy to make, and everybody loves them. So mac and cheese, made from scratch, grilled up some vegetables, carrots, asparagus, chicken, and a ribeye steak. Now, in the professional kitchen, we don't have time to always take thermometers and stick into there. So what we do is we do a little test. And so the way that test works is very simple to do. Hold your hand in front of you, and you just press down on this big fleshy part of your hand, and that is rare meat right there. It's raw, so it's really raw meat there. If you just barely touch, you don't press, you just touch the fingers together, there's rare right there. And as you go, it firms up to a medium rare, into medium, medium to well done-ish. And if you just touch those fingers and touch there, that is very firm and it is well done. And that's where you want chicken to be. But like I said earlier, honestly, nothing is better than using an Insta-read thermometer that you can get an actual perfect temperature in there every time. So that's just a quick way if you need to kind of guesstimate where something is temperature-wise. And so let's take some of the chicken here, move that there. And we'll just slice some of that up to put on the mac and cheese, a little bit of our asparagus. I love asparagus. I think it is so delicious. And aren't we lucky this time? Because I remember when asparagus wasn't available year-round. It was a spring vegetable, and so it would be very much available in the springtime, but not as much throughout the year. Now we're so lucky we've got it all throughout the year, and it's just delicious on there. So some carrots, some asparagus. I love the long look of those for display. I just think it's beautiful, it's fun, and they're easy to put together. You can toss them with a little bit of honey if you wanted to have some sweetened vegetables as well. Now as far as the steak, I'm going to take out, I'm going to kind of just slice it. Beautifully cooked, medium rare, just like I like it. You can cook it however you like your steaks done, but I just think, oh my goodness, you spend that much money on a steak, why are you going to cook it to shoe leather? That's what I always tell my friends. I'm like, oh my word, if any of you cook that more than medium rare, I'm going to come haunt you. All right, there we go. Let's just take that piece off. That one has most of the fat in it. Let's take our chicken breast here, just kind of slice it up. I always have chicken breasts at home. I buy them frozen, and so I always have them in the freezer. They're very easy to have and are a wonderful source of protein. And of course, you can do one or two. You don't have to do both of the chicken or the steak. I just thought it was kind of fun to have both of them. A delicious comfort food with grilled vegetables that I showed you how to blanch in the macaroni, the pasta that you're cooking, some grilled steak, grilled chicken, and a homemade mac and cheese. And of course, I'm using the Beehive cheddar cheese, which is very sharp. It's very delicious. I hope you try it. Use your favorite cheese in there, or use up whatever you have at home. Now, this recipe is featured on cookingwithchefbryan.com. You can head over to the website and grab it. You can see right there the featured. The other day I did hamburger beef stroganoff. This recipe will be up there on Sunday. If not, it just means you go into the recipe section and just search in the bar to find the recipe that you want. And of course, order my book. I love it. I'm so proud of the Instant Pot Cookbook. I'm so proud of my book. Go grab it and enjoy it. And as always, thanks for saying hi when you see me out and about. In the grocery store, it's always fun to hear of your cooking stories. And of course, you can find me on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, etc., etc. I'll see you all next time.